We're here just a couple minutes early to say hi as everyone arrives. We're going to be doing some writing sprints today for NaNoWriMo. Even if you're not doing NaNoWriMo, you're still welcome to join. These are going to be like a weekly thing for the next month, so we're kicking it off today. I'm just going to see what you guys are chatting about in the comments, where you guys are from.
Oh, Denver,
Hello,
Colorado.
Sarah from Denver. Having a hard time creating a main character or two. That's fair. Sometimes I also procrastinate character building, and then I get like a quarter through the book, and I'm like, wait, I haven't built this character yet. From Ohio. Hello, Tammy. Need about another 500 words to hit my daily goal. I hope that you can hit it today during these sprints. I feel like 500 words is pretty doable. I'm doing great on every piece of writing except my work in progress.
Oh,
it's
no.
me bananas. Kate, that's the most relatable thing I've ever read.
Seriously.
As someone who constantly procrastinates my work in progress with short stories, I relate.
Let's see.
Oh, someone's from Slovenia. Hello. Hello. Someone from London. Hello from Germany. Hello. Nano, it's not as hard as you think. It is possible to do. I've done 6 this 7. 7th NaNoWriMo. Congratulations. Also,
Awesome.
I agree. I think it actually isn't as hard as you like. It's hard, but like I think it seems harder than it is. Like it seems almost undoable, but like if you set your mind to it, it's more possible than you think.
I think also like winning your first NaNoWriMo is probably the hardest, and once you've proven to yourself you can do it once, it's easier to repeat.
Yeah, I think so too. This is my first NaNoWriMo, and I'm super stoked about this. I'm a bit behind, so I need the sprint. You know what? It's totally okay to be behind. I'm also super behind, so that's okay. We're people from France. Hello from Belgium.
Oh, someone's saying that they completed 70,000 words. That seems quite a bit this early. But
ooh, someone's here from India. Is it super late for you? I feel like that's commitment. Or is it just really late? In which case I relate. Night writers unite. Are a lot of you guys doing your first NaNoWriMos? Or are you veterans? I find myself writing more than what's going to be in the book, but it's actually helping me narrow my focus. You know what? That's totally okay. I think like sometimes you have to write things just for you to like get it out, and like it gives you like a deeper understanding of what you're writing, even if it's never going to be in the book. Sometimes like the stuff that you don't need is actually like really important, I feel like, for developing the story. Plus, if you're trying to hit 50,000 words, maybe writing some extra stuff can't hurt. Ooh, it's your first NaNoWriMo. Well, good luck. Oh. Jen, can you turn your mic down?
I will.
That might also be because mine is quiet. I don't know. Ooh, lots of people saying it's your first NaNoWriMos.
Ooh, good for you guys.
It's ooh, someone says you've been doing NaNoWriMo since you were 11. I did my first NaNoWriMo when I was 13. I don't know if I would have done it at 11. I don't know if I would have had the mental organization or drive.
Yeah, that actually relates to something that Shaelin and I were talking about before the stream, of just like how young you were when you started, and like, is there a point that you think that you wouldn't have gone for it? Like, is there ever a cutoff where you were just too, either you weren't into writing enough yet, or you just felt like you were too young to try something like that? I'm not sure. NaNoWriMo wasn't a thing when I was super, super young, so it's hard to say how I would have reacted to it. If I was like 9, 10 years old.
I found out about it when I was 13. Like I found out, I did the first NaNoWriMo I did, I only did half because I found out about it halfway through November, and I was like, this seems awesome, let's do it. So I feel like if I had learned about it earlier, I probably would have had the same just like unregulated enthusiasm that I had for writing as a child, and that I guess I still do have. So probably even if I was like 8 or 9, I would have gone for it. I don't think I would have been able to win, but I probably would have. I had one of those like little like notebook laptops that like you could barely do anything on, that I shared with my brother. I would have been NaNoWriMoing on that little slow piece of trash that I used to write back then. Ooh, someone says, I'm not doing the traditional NaNoWriMo. I'm just trying to write every day. That's what I'm doing too. I am also not going for the word count because I draft pretty slow, and I kind of thought it might be counterproductive for me to try to write 50,000 words. It would just end up with the draft being pretty bad, and that's not how I like to write. I like to take my time. So I'm also doing the same thing as you, and I think it's a great compromise. Is anyone else doing like an unconventional NaNoWriMo? I'm a very big supporter of like completely breaking the rules of what you're supposed to do. Anyone else, or are you guys actually going for it? I'm still on the fence. Okay, Charlotte says, I'm still on the fence about NaNoWriMo in the process of revising a completed manuscript. So am I. I'm also in the process of revising a completed manuscript, and I might be doing NaNoWriMo to procrastinate the final 3 things that I have to do to finish revising it. That would take like 2 days. So I relate. All right. Should we do it? Should we do a sprint maybe in like 2 minutes at 5 after?
Yeah, why don't we just run down what today's going to be if there's anybody that's new to this.
Cool. Sounds good. Would you like to take the reins, Jenn?
Yeah, sure. So basically for live write-ins, it's fairly straightforward. We pretty much just all get together, me and Shaelin on the camera and the rest of you guys in the chat, and we start a timer. I think we're going for 15-minute timers today. And basically the idea is that writing is lonely, and it helps if you have people to do it with you. So when the timer starts, we are going to shut up, stop talking. We're going to actually try and do as many words in our respective projects as we can. After the timer goes off, we will come back, share not only word count progress, but if you guys have been struggling, if something went really well for you, feel free to let us know in the chat. We will share some of our thoughts. Chat for a few minutes and do it all over again.
Yeah. May I ask, Jenn, what are you writing?
I took a small break from my main projects just because I have been working on them for so long that I need a mental refresh. So they're at a point where I can let them rest. So I'm just doing a random side project that I don't know if I'm actually going to finish up enough to actually fully publish it the way that I do with my other books, or if it's just a for fun thing. We will see how it goes. But it's sci-fi story, space pirates kind of thing, just purely self-indulgent, total fun.
Did you say space pirates?
Space pirates.
Sorry, those are my 2 favorite things combined. Space pirates is the ultimate genre.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you should publish that because space pirates. The world can never have too many space pirates, in my opinion. Yes.
So, yeah.
Give this a like. I thank you, Martin, for putting that up there. All right. I think we're getting a timer ready.
Yep.
I should probably open my document and figure out
that would help.
Right, because I don't even know. But that's okay. Figure it out as I go. All right. If everyone's ready, I think we're going to get started. 15 minutes, I think, is what we're going to do. I know the 20-minute ones can be kind of long. So nice 15 to kind of ease into it. All right. Ready to get... Click the begin button. Voila. All right, away we go. I will see you guys in 15 minutes. That terrified me. Oh, Jen, I think you're muted.
Me?
There you go. I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, first 15 minutes down. How did everybody do? Let us know.
Does anyone... I don't know, they're looking pretty focused. Did we? Internally, I felt confused and lost. Anyone else? Any success stories or not? I didn't know what I was doing for the first 5 minutes of that, and that is okay. I don't know what my word count is, because I wrote kind of all over the place. Give me a second. How about you, Jen? How much did you write?
About 250 if I had to guess.
Nice. 1 second. I have to subtract my word count from the word count I wrote yesterday, because I kind of just wrote in like 4 different places. 322. That's actually more than I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So we got 466 words by somebody.
Oh, nice. That's, see, like, it's one of those things, NaNoWriMo seems hard, but 466, like, if you do around that 3 or 4 times, like, there's your word count for the day. 657 words. Nice. That's good.
Someone just says, I'm not good at this. Or horrible. Yep, horrible, almost nothing. You know what? That is okay at this point. You can definitely do better in the next one. And if it takes a while, it takes a while, you know? There's no wrong result in a sprint.
And it's not like a competition, you know, like even if you spend 15 minutes focusing and thinking and you only get like half of the sentence written, that's still like 15 minutes that you spent focusing and thinking and like making progress. It was a rewrite of one of those chapters that I'd drawn up a summary for. Rewriting is hard, so I commend you. I feel like it feels like juggling a lot more stuff. You see, a lot of you guys did good. A couple people are saying that they didn't write that much, and you know what? That is totally okay. I definitely have writing sprints where I just don't write that much. Sometimes it happens.
Oh, someone was saying that they're actually still in the outlining stages, so they were drawing a map. Okay,
ooh, that's
that works
cool.
too.
I'm curious, what do you draw your maps by hand, or do you like use the software to make them?
Writing horror. I'm terrified to keep writing it.
I think if your own book is scaring you, that means it must be pretty good. You know? Like, if you're too scared to write your own horror, it's probably good horror. These times I spend more time procrastinating with Scrivener and Y-Writer and trying to choose one. I actually, on the first day of NaNoWriMo, I downloaded Scrivener, and I don't use Scrivener. I usually just write in Word. And on the first day, I was like, I should try Scrivener. It seems like the time. And then on the first day of NaNoWriMo, so clearly I was just procrastinating. And then I downloaded it, and then I looked at it, and I was like, this is way too complicated. I can't do it. I drew my map by hand. Nice. That takes skill. Making maps is hard. I tried once. It just looked like a blob.
Same. I admire people that can draw actual maps with like nice coastlines and yeah.
Oh, my aim is to be in the writing mood. This group motivates me. Oh, I'm happy to hear that. Writing with other people does work. It's true. You guys do motivate me. I'm writing at 11 in the morning. That never happens. Whoa, okay, I am at 25K on day 5. That's amazing. Struggling with those last 500 words, but your sprints really help. You know what? Seems like you don't even need our help. You're crushing it. That's amazing. I cannot imagine.
Someone's using the Reedsy editor. Nice. We always love to hear that. Nice. Oh, I've only seen Shaelin on this channel. Who is Jenn? Hi. Yeah, hi. I'm not normally on the channel except for like sprints and stuff. You see me mostly over on prompts. Reedsy prompts are short story contest. I'm the one that comes up with the weekly prompts and organizes all that. So hello, anybody from that community. I know that there's I've seen a few names over here that I recognize from there.
Oh, that's nice. Hi, prompts people. Right, should we do another one fairly soon? Maybe in like a minute? or so.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh, what is the Reedsy editor? It's a like writing and formatting software that we have. It's free, and it basically like you can write in it and also kind of do like track changes, editing with other people, and then it exports to ebook file formats.
Yeah, and it's completely free. We should drop the link in the chat.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
a
we will
good
in
like
just one
if you
second.
kind of like the if you kind of like you know how Scrivener has kind of like the binder on the side with like a table of contents and stuff. If you like that, but you find Scrivener like way too complicated and overwhelming, like I do, it like the Reedsy editor has that feature, but without like the like 12 million other features that I find overwhelming. So it's kind of like a nice middle ground.
Yeah. Can you use the Reedsy editor for Nano? Yes, you absolutely can.
You can use whatever you like for Nano. Some people I've heard handwrite for Nano, which is commitment in and of itself.
Oh, I could never handwrite a whole novel.
If you a long time ago on this channel, like back at the beginning of the year, we did a video on like trying writing hacks. And one of them was that like you guys suggested, and someone had suggested writing by hand. And if you saw that video, you know the vendetta I have against handwriting. I was like, this is the worst thing ever, and I'm never doing it again. Ooh, someone's idea came from a Reedsy prompt. That's amazing.
Nice. Always love to hear that. Anyone have advice for writing a really nasty character? It's hard to be mean.
I love writing nasty characters. Like writing unlikable characters is kind of like my favorite thing to write. I feel like my main tip is like don't worry about the fact that people won't like them. Like I think because it's like really common advice, like your characters should be likable and like you want the reader to sympathize with them. It can be kind of nerve-wracking if you want to write someone purposely unlikable. So I think just like don't worry about whether or not they're likable. You can't really have both. So yeah, don't worry about making them likable. Let them be mean because that itself can be very interesting and compelling, even if they don't seem like someone that you want to hang out with.
Also, depending on the type of mean, like if you're mad at somebody and you can sort of channel that energy, you know, letting out your little inner demon a little bit the way that you hopefully wouldn't in real life, it can be kind of fun. I'm just saying.
If there's anything on your chest that you're like, I wish I could say this to someone, but I can't, just let it out.
All right, we should do another. Sprint, I think.
I think 15 minutes again sounds good. The 20-minute ones can get kind of long. I feel like at 15 minutes, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm done. So as long as everyone seems good with that.
Yeah.
All right, away we go. I'll mute myself. And if you like the sound of typing, then maybe search like typing noise on YouTube.
Did that startle you again, Shaelin?
It's just the sound of it is so aggressive, and I feel like it sounds like my old alarm clock, and so I have like a stress response to it. It's just like a very aggressive noise.
Okay, so let's see. We've got somebody already gotten 1,100, almost 1,200 words for the day. You started at 10 a.m.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, that's so sweet. I wish you the utmost grand inspiration. 500 words in 30 days. Ooh, are you voice typing? That's cool. The alarm wasn't really as bad. Okay, maybe it's just a me thing. Maybe it's just a personal me problem.
Let's see.
Let's see. How much did you write, Jen?
No words, but took a step back to reflect on it, mostly because I was scared. You know what? That's valid.
Yeah. Sometimes
yeah,
that's the best thing to do.
Yeah. And then especially if, you know, you are feeling anxious about something, sometimes just those 5 minutes, 10 minutes for yourself, just trying to sort it out and really make a difference.
Yeah, there's not much point like continuing to write if you feel like it would be better to just stop and think for a moment. Like the thinking can serve you well.
Let's see.
Did you write a lot on that one, Jen? Or
not as much. I was working on something that was a little bit more delicate, so
oh yeah,
I just had to stop and think a little more.
that's fair. I think I did a lot more on that one. I think probably about 500 words, but I think it's partly just because I'm restarting a draft, and so there's some stuff that I'm like basically pasting in from the old draft and then just revising it. So maybe that's why. The alarm is horrible. It's not just me. Thank you. 428 words. Free writing done during sprint. Nice. Oh, free writing. So you like planning for a new project? I love free writing. A lot of my best ideas come from free writing. Bit of an echo.
Yeah, I noticed the echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
I think it might be on your end. Well, I don't know how to fix that. I'm new to Nano and sprinting. I average between 250 and 350. That's good. That's like a really good amount. If you can average, if you can average 350, it only takes like a few sprints a day to a NaNoWriMo. If you're trying to win. And it's okay if you're not trying to win.
Okay.
Sometimes a day of storytelling in your brain will provide a really great flow the next time you sit at your computer. That is completely true. One thing I definitely recommend if you're stuck is to like specifically set aside time to think. Like specifically plan, like I'm gonna think now. Like for me, I usually will like queue up 4 songs from my writing playlist and either like go for a walk or just sit and think and try to like think about the story. Even if it's not like anything in particular, like not even necessarily the next scene I have to write. It could just be like, I know these songs will make me think about the book. And I find it's very useful if you're stuck to kind of just get you back in the mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone says, I like this because it forces me to produce and get a little competitiveness. I need that. That's fair. Sometimes a little bit of competitiveness is like the inspiration that you need. When does this live stream end? We don't have like a specific time, but I think we're probably going to do one more sprint. I think is the plan.
I recommend finding your local Nano group. My group is doing daily Nano sprints every night. That's good.
Yeah, I definitely on the first couple days of Nano, like I produced actually like a decent amount. I think at day 2 I was actually like on track to win, and I was really excited because I think that day 2 is probably going to be the only point of the month where I'm on track to win. I think from this point onwards I will not be on track to win. So I celebrated that. That at day 2, I was on track. If I feel super stuck, I find reading gets my imagination flowing. This is so true. Definitely something I really recommend is if you don't feel like writing one day or feel like you have no inspiration, just try to read instead. And I definitely find that reading will make me want to write. I don't know, like I think like absorbing words from other people gets the words moving in your own brain. I don't know, there's something there. All right, should we do another one in maybe like a minute or right now? Since you're there, Martin, queuing one up. And I wouldn't be opposed if you changed the alarm sound just so that my shocked, terrified face isn't immortalized on the screen forever. Give me a minute. Okay, cool. We'll do that. Okay, I'm kind of curious, what genre is everybody writing in? I feel like, I don't know, like, is it, no, I don't think it's necessarily harder to do NaNoWriMo for certain genres. Maybe it'd be hard if you were like, I do think it's hard if you're writing like a short story collection though. That I think is quite difficult. Oh,
Well, we already
says
know
you're writing short essays.
we already know what genre I'm writing, and what are you writing in, Shaelin?
My book's literary fiction. Yeah. It's like, that's like most of what I write. I don't really know how to write genre fiction because like I've heard on the street that like genre fiction needs to have a plot, and I don't know how to do that. And I've also heard that like to world build, you need to like understand logic, and like I don't know how to do that either. So instead, I'm just like pretty words and themes. Oh, okay, everyone's saying what they're writing. Urban fantasy, lots of fantasy. Fantasy is cool. Thrillers, coming of age. Oh, my book is like a coming of age. I guess my book is technically I never know how to say this word. It's like a Bildungsroman, you know, like when, I don't know. Does anyone know how to say that word? I don't know how to say it. It's like kind of a take on one of that with like a ghost twist. A couple people writing YA. I read a lot of YA when I was like at the YA age. Is a fun one. Oh, Martin says ready when you are. Sorry, I completely didn't notice that. All right. Someone says, what's a plot? I agree. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. All right. Should we do one final 15-minute sprint?
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously, if you're feeling like you're on a good roll, continue after the stream. Right. Hello. We're back. How was that one for everyone? I feel like now I'm starting to get a roll. I think I actually have surpassed the word count for today, probably, which is going to only happen on rare days. So that's a big cause for celebration that I could write 1,700 words in a day. Oh, only 300 words before you hit a mental wall. I feel that. That happens. Around
Yeah, I got
280.
about 300 again.
See, I cheated. I think my word count on that one was like 900, but again, it's only because I pasted in a scene from my old draft and I was just revising it. So I'm a big cheater who cheats at NaNoWriMo. Ooh, 1,500 words total. You're almost there for the day then. Nice. 311. That's still good. Like on an average sprint where like I'm not pasting in giant chunks of writing from an old draft, like I feel like that's about what I would normally write, is about 300. 300, 400 seems to be pretty normal for most people. I feel like I'm on a good roll now, though. Ooh, it was more breakthrough I had with one of my characters. Nice.
Someone says gotten more with each sprint. That's a nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that I always like, there's two ways that a series of sprints can go. Either with each one it gets progressively better, or with each one it gets progressively worse. You either get like more on a roll, or you just increasingly don't know what you're doing. Someone says, I want to add the murder part. Are you writing up towards a murder? That's very exciting. Oh, okay, Q&A time. Yes, if you have questions, we will field them. Now would be the time. I guess before we say goodbye for the day, we'll take some questions. I don't know. No, I'm just... I had to skip the first sprint to go downstairs and make a cup of tea. Charlotte, I relate. I usually cannot write without tea. Pro tip though, if you feel like you need motivation to write and like you usually stop writing fairly quickly, I find I use like a cup of tea as a timer, like because it takes a certain amount of time to drink a whole cup of tea. And so like sometimes I'll make a cup of tea and just say to myself like, don't stop writing until you're done your cup of tea. And then when I'm done my tea, then I can quit writing for the day.
Okay, yeah, I'm not usually, I know I have my water bottle, but I'm not usually one to like eat or drink much while I write.
I'm on the first chapter and I'm already defining everything I outlined. I support that. I support you. Oh, someone said, Jen, how many NaNoWriMos have you completed? It's impressive. I know the answer.
I did it a long time ago. I did 6 NaNoWriMos. I know I'm still echoing. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how to get that fixed. But yeah, I did 6 NaNoWriMos way back when it was very early in NaNoWriMos history. And then occasionally I've jumped in and done them ever since then. So I've done maybe like 3 or 4 more since that first block that I did.
Nice. You are a connoisseur. You're a NaNoWriMo connoisseur then.
Yeah.
How do you get out of the backspace repeat struggle? I assume this is like if you're writing, you just keep backspacing like the same sentence and not really making any progress. I assume is what you're referring to. My tip, well, first of all, sometimes when this is happening, it's just a bad day. Like I know that it's pretty common advice that you should write even if you're having a bad day of writing, but I personally don't abide by that. Like if I start writing and it's just not working, I don't force myself to write that day. It's probably not going to turn out that well. Sometimes coming back the next day, everything is fixed. But my best piece of advice if you're really stuck is I like to use this mantra where I tell myself, just say it as simply as you possibly can. Especially for me, I'm someone who like really likes prose and language. Like I'm fueled more in the writing by like the language itself. And so sometimes I can get too caught up because it doesn't sound nice or like it doesn't sound like my style. And so I tell myself like, just say it as simply as you can, even if it's like like I walk down the road, like extremely simple, no description. And I find it usually only takes like a short amount of time of saying it literally as basically as I can before I get back on track. My writing seems bland. I keep writing out dry prose that is dull. Any quick tips to make my sentences more interesting? Oh, do I?
This is kind of the opposite of what you were just talking about.
I do. I have 2 tips to make your writing more interesting. Although, as a quick preface, if you're worried too much on this on the first draft, it's very hard to make progress. So if you find yourself like getting caught up in this, don't worry about it too much. But my 2 main tips for making your writing more interesting, first of all, is to use more interesting verbs. Obviously, you don't have to do this in all sentences or else it becomes over the top. But just look at your verbs and see if you can use like a more original or specific or interesting verb. I love the technique where you like turn a noun into a verb. I think that that can make just sentences really fun. Some people hate it. Personally, I absolutely love that technique. I think it's really, really fun. And then the other one is just to make your details more specific. You know, you don't have to write in any kind of overly complex sentence structure to make the prose beautiful. I think the best way to make the prose beautiful is to just seek interesting, specific details. So like if your character, let's say your character shows up at a party, instead of just saying, I show up at a party and see everyone there, like describe like an interesting decoration on the wall, or something like a character who is wearing something interesting, you know, like try to find a specific interesting thing. And I find that that usually makes the writing more interesting. I don't know if you want to pull another one, Martin, if anyone has any other questions. What do you do when you feel like a story isn't going anywhere? Well, since I don't outline my books and I discovery write them, this does happen sometimes. I think that there's a lot of ways to approach this, and it does depend on why you feel like the story isn't going anywhere. I think sometimes it might be because, say, you've lost track of the stakes or you've lost track of the conflict. Like those things can make your writing grind to a halt. And one reason why I discovery write and I don't outline my books is I find that when I'm not outlining, if the story kind of loses momentum, it's kind of like a sign to me that I've missed a core component of writing. Like if the story isn't kind of naturally moving forward, I probably don't have enough stakes, or there's not enough conflict, or the character doesn't have a goal. Because if all those things are present, the story will kind of naturally move forward. So I do think it helps to do a bit of a diagnosis on like the basic elements of conflict to make sure you have them. And then also sometimes, a lot of the time, I think it's super, super common. If you feel like you're stuck on a scene, the problem isn't that scene. It's probably about 3 or 4 scenes back where like there was a fork in the road and you took the wrong turn. So sometimes it helps to jump back a couple scenes and maybe see where that wrong turn was. I find that pretty useful. I don't know, Jen, do you want to field this one? Because I feel like I just took like 3 in a row.
Yeah, so what's your advice for writing multiple points of view? Well, first of all, we did just publish a blog post about this. We can put a link in the chat. But specifically making them sound different from one another, a couple of things that you can do is to vary up the kinds of word choice that you use from the different characters' perspectives. Or especially if that flows into my other point, which is pretty much just like making sure that their particular worldview is accurately reflected in the way that even like the sentences are constructed. So like if they're a pessimist, you don't want it to sound all happy-go-lucky. You want to make sure that the descriptions have more of a negative connotation or a negative tone to them. If they don't like somebody, they're not going to describe them in a flattering sort of way. So that kind of thing definitely plays in. You want to pay attention to like what their background is. Would they use very flowery language? Would they use very simple sentences? And that can even go into the not just the dialogue, but the actual prose itself. So those are a couple of things that I keep in mind when I'm doing that. How do I not get caught up in inner monologue during dialogues? That one. Do you have anything that's jumping out at you, Shaelin? I'm still mulling on that one.
I mean, I think my first thing that I would say is if the story of the scene wants to go into monologue, that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's no ratio that a scene needs. Like, even though it's a dialogue scene, you can't not have internal monologue. You know, like, there's no ratio of story elements that a story needs. It's all different. And so if the story keeps going into internal monologue, maybe that's because it's what the scene wants to do. And it's okay to let it do that. But it might also be like, I don't know, this is difficult. This is a difficult question, I'll be honest. But I think maybe ask yourself if the scene itself and the dialogue itself has enough conflict, because maybe it's possible, like, if you keep resorting to internal monologue, it's because there's not enough fuel in the dialogue itself. And maybe the dialogue needs to be like you need to kind of ramp up the stakes of the conversation itself so it can kind of carry the scene. I don't know if that's helpful. I hope it is. Oh, well. Do you always write in the same location? I mean, because of COVID, I now do always write in the same location in my house. But pre-COVID, I would write in different places because I unfortunately, before COVID, got into the habit where I could only do work, or at least writing, like outside of my house. And I probably did 90% of writing in coffee shops or like libraries. Like, that was my thing. Like, a couple times a week, I would be like, I'm going to go write. And I would go like sit in a coffee shop for like 4 hours. And that was my writing time. And I would never write at home. And so now I have to write at home. And so I built up that habit only for it to be cut down a little.
Okay, so am I a planner pantser or a plantster? I'm definitely more of that middle plantster section. I usually have a little bit of an idea what I'm going to do for the entire book. I usually have like some very cornerstone scenes that are definitely going to be in the book. There's sometimes a little bit of an outline, a sense of how it's going to be between them, but then I just kind of have to start writing and get into the voice of the specific characters and the voice of that particular book. I cannot do an entire outline beforehand because it will be wrong once I actually get into it and actually have a better sense of who the characters really are. For me, there's only so far I can plan that kind of thing. Some of it just has to emerge organically. But I do like having, like I said, those cornerstone scenes that I know, like the ones that really excite me when I first get the idea. There's usually something toward the end of the book where I'm like, I definitely have to build toward that moment. So I'll definitely outline that. I'll make notes about how to get to that point, but then I pretty much just find my way through.
Nice. All right. I think, I assume from the little banner that we're wrapping it up. But we will be back for another one of these next Thursday, and also the Thursday after that, and every Thursday until the end of the month. So if you find this helpful, it certainly was for me. I think that this is the most I've written in a day during NaNoWriMo so far. So if you find these helpful, yeah, you can join us again next week.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, like this video. And yeah, we also do other things on this channel that you can check out if you're not subscribed already. I guess that's about it. I think we're calling it a day, but it was lovely having you all here, and I look forward to seeing you next week.